Thanks for watching Capricast. I'm Nat, he's Matt, and let's get started.
All right, first off, a week from today, we're going to be putting our favorite intro submissions up for you to vote on.
Pretty good so far.
Yeah, we just can't choose. So the submissions are still open, so you can put them up until the next week's episode of Caprica airs. So we're giving some time still for you, don't worry. Now, this week's episode was Know Thy Enemy.
Oh man, was it good.
Great.
Yeah.
Oh man, okay, Michael Nankin directed it.
I know, he's our man.
He's delivering. Like
Great
the last,
episodes, dude.
Yeah, the last two have been Nankin, and they've been spot on.
Yeah.
Now, the previews. Ooh, we have decided to stop watching them.
Yes, thanks guys. You guys keep on saying, well, stop complaining and watching them. So, okay, fine. We're not watching
So
them.
we stopped. But we did wind up watching them afterwards, and man, are we glad.
Yeah.
Tomas and Greystone's mimosa party, easily the highest tension part of the entire episode.
They're having such like a tense, scary conversation. They're like, mimosas.
May as well have been Cosmos. But it was great to see, and it was a wicked hook for the episode. It's just kind of a shame that we probably would have seen it if we were watching the previews.
Yeah, they've got to stop giving away the best stuff there.
Yeah, I mean, if you've got great stuff in your episode, give it away, but just don't give it all away. All right, well, let's get into the Greystones.
Now, I loved seeing that Labby going crazy on U87. He's coming onto it stronger than ever. Matt, I think you might be right with the whole Baltar precursor here.
And now what they've got going on, Zoe's avatar is egging him on in V-World.
Oh my gosh.
There's something oddly sympathetic and very weird going on
Yeah, but you have
there.
to wonder. I mean, I think a part of her is just like, oh, look at this adorable geek, and, you know, I want to help him out. But there's got to be an ulterior motive there. There always is.
It's the closest thing to a friend she has now that Lacey isn't there
That's
all the
true.
time. I mean, she's
And
got
she
this
knows
person
that
who cares about her.
he is in love with this U87 model.
Yeah, and from her perspective, it's someone that cares about her.
Exactly.
And that's something that she's not got a lot of right now.
Yeah. Now, the Greystones party at the beginning of the episode was a gorgeous venue, but it was such a Vancouver museum. It wasn't funny. I mean, if it wasn't for the Olympics focusing on it so much, it may not have been so obvious.
But you know what? When we were there, we met an incredibly cool character. Tomas Vergis.
Oh, yeah.
Greystone's new nemesis. It's very cool.
So cool.
And I love that the Vergis Corporation has come back into the fray. The idea that Adama's stolen this chip and now what's happened in the pilot is really coming back.
Yeah, and the great thing here is that, I mean, we always had kind of heard of, you know, Vergis Corporation and the competition, but I love that in this episode it's been, you know, given a human face now, Tomas, and Tomas is Tauren.
Now, I don't want to call him a villain. Tomas to me is an antagonist for Greystone, but he's way too cool and he's way too pure. He's not being an asshole. He's being a Tauren. He's just out until the debt is paid.
Exactly.
That says it best.
Yeah, you know, not only because of stealing the chip, but more importantly because of the two men that were killed in the process. And we all know how traditional and vengeful Taurens seem to be about death.
And now that Zoe knows about what Daniel has done, it'll be interesting to see how that plays into her perception of her father.
So Yusif's doing some serious follow-up on the last episode where this random boy came to his house at the funeral to tell him that Tamara's avatar is apparently still alive and kicking.
And Yusif was getting totally checked out hard by his assistant Evelyn. I love seeing her because she was from Stargate, and it's neat to see her again. But man, it's getting creepy. The hat was pretty bizarre.
Yeah, the
too.
hat was bizarre, but she's just like, oh, the tattoo.
Very nice work.
Wow.
Whoa.
Yeah, yeah, she wants to get in on that. Anyway, watching him go into V-World for the first time was hilarious because he's just so startled when Virtual Daniel's just like, hello, welcome to V-World.
Welcome to V-World.
Yeah.
Oh, I can see why people hack V-World.
Exactly.
Oh my God.
It was pretty funny, a little terrifying, and very amusing.
Now Sam wasn't exactly in the episode.
No.
He had this great little bit while he was counting his qubits.
Yeah. Which was cool, but you know what? We got new characters this time, so I guess that's why I didn't really notice. I hate to admit, I didn't really notice that Sam wasn't in it.
I don't know.
much.
I really missed Sasha Reyes in this
I
episode.
love Sam. But
Absolutely, and I love.
Vergis is kind of a
He is cool.
equally not sinister, but antagonistic character.
Threatening,
in a way.
strong.
Threatening, strong.
I
Threatening,
just like the
strong
Taurens.
That's it.
The Taurens are just really cool, and I love that even in this episode when he's counting his qubits, you know, his brother comes up to him freaking out, and Sam is just like, I did my job, whatever. But
well, I was going to say, the part that I found interesting was the conversation between Yusif and Sam in this one, where he's kind of talking about this thing called the Guatrao, and it kind
Yeah.
of gives you the impression that there's a hierarchy or a godfather
Yeah, I
of some
wasn't
sort.
quite
Like,
sure.
you didn't want to make someone too unhappy.
Yeah, we've heard the term Guatrao a few times, but this is the first time I've heard him referred to as a him. It really sounds like the Halatha godfather, and I'm really wondering if he's going to find out about what's gone on here, because he'll probably be sending the Adamas a message if he does.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you know what? This episode really brought us our first character that made it impossible to ignore in the STO. So here we're introduced to fan favorite James Marsters.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
in the show now as the church's go-to guy for all their dirty work, Barnabas. What
Now,
a name.
his intro to the audience
Oh,
was
man.
so twisted with the barbed wire wrapped around it. I've got to say, nicely done, Nankin. The silhouette, him coming out, just being revealed.
Well, knowing that
Badass.
they're the soldiers of the One, and again, the monotheism thing, it really reminded me of the creepy albino monk man in Dan Brown's Da Vinci Code. And the idea of, like, you
That's
know, kind of
hilarious.
like the...
Oh yeah, you're right. That's
Yeah.
bizarre.
Yeah,
that's
it was
bizarre.
interesting.
Now it'll be interesting to see if Barnabas gets his hand on a copy of Zoe with the U-87 at the same time as Clarice maybe shows up with her own version of Zoe's avatar.
Exactly. That brings us to Clarice and her crazy drunken recon for the STO.
Now this woman is obsessed with proving her ideals of apotheosis, which this shaded figure, we have no idea what
No.
it is yet, but she's willing to do just about anything on
Oh,
a hunch.
man. You know what would be the most hilarious WTF in that moment? That the shaded figure is Barnabas.
That would be bizarre.
Anyway, Amanda invites Clarice into the house, and who knows what she managed to download onto her little thumb drive thing, but you have to wonder, the big question is, will there be another Zoe copy?
And will those copies live separate from one another and begin to diverge? That is the point we're waiting for.
But they could obviously still meet up in V-World, which
They
would be
could meet up, but the
interesting.
idea that the personalities would diverge is when we start to see copies and we start to really see this sort of Cylon mentality begin to happen. That's something I'm fascinated about. And am I the only one who got the impression that Amanda might be Scorpion? Because her crazy green Kool-Aid was pretty gangsta.
Oh, God.
Next week, we're treated to The Imperfections of Memory. Now, this is the third episode in a row directed by our favorite Battlestar director, Michael Nankin.
Oh yeah, it looks like super noob Joe Adama goes diving into his holoban hardcore and heads straight for New Cap City with Tamara's boyfriend.
Now, we've already seen him get totally owned in the preview already, so hopefully he makes it to Tamara before de-resing. I don't know.
We definitely get more of Tomas Vergis, which I'm very happy about,
Yes.
and more of the pyramid drama.
And I really hope Greystone has to sell that, because if he has to sell the Seabucks, he's got to get some money so we can get these Cylons out of the lab and into the field.
Man, well, Nankin has delivered 2 of the coolest episodes of Capricast so far, and we're definitely expecting the hat trick next week.
Now remember to get your submissions emailed in to us before Imperfections of Memory airs.
And then let the voting begin.
See you next week.